The dubious distinction sparked by smoke and smog. Where Canada's biggest city ranked when it comes to the world's worst air quality.
Looks kind of like Delhi, maybe Beijing. What is going on?
As flames fueling the fires keep thousands from returning home.
Oh my goodness.
The scale of a pandemic problem.
All these challenges could have led to greater amounts of calories going in.
The amount of weight Canadians are still trying to lose well after the lockdowns. Plus a letter, an ocean, and some hope.
We had this bottle of wine, may as well do something cute with it.
The message in a bottle and where it was discovered 13 years later.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening. Millions of Canadians battled uncomfortable and potentially dangerous air quality today, with warnings extending through much of central Canada, Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So bad in Canada's largest city. At one point, the air quality was one of the worst in the world. CTV's Adrian Gobriel on the cause and how long it will last.
Canada's largest city nearly unrecognizable for those making the commute into Toronto.
It looks kind of like Delhi, maybe Beijing, something very industrial. There's not enough industry in Toronto to warrant this type of smog. Yes, it's like, what is going on that is causing this?
A jet stream is pushing smoke from wildfires in Manitoba and northern Ontario across parts of the country.
The cinders and the ash and the smoke from these fires and bringing it into populated areas.
Toronto's nickname, the Big Smoke, has taken on additional meaning today. Just take a look behind me. Smoke has nearly erased the CN Tower and the skyscrapers from the city's skyline.
This Environment Canada data shows the plume blanketing parts of the country from Saskatoon through Manitoba, Ontario, and into Quebec.
The wildfire smoke actually contains a number of harmful substances and chemicals.
Young children, pregnant women, the elderly, and those with chronic respiratory conditions are being advised to stay indoors.
Someone with asthma, other lung diseases, heart disease, diabetes, even actually someone who's quite healthy but might be active outdoors or working outdoors can be impacted by these exposures as well.
I got allergic rhinitis, so it's definitely not great for me when the quality is like that.
As of this afternoon, the Swiss air quality tracker IQ Air had Toronto sitting at 5th worst in the world. At one point this morning, it sat at number 2 on the planet. The concerning air quality alerts come just as Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa are all under a heat warning.
We'll have 10 days above 30 degrees, and my gosh, we normally for the whole summer have 7. So, and we've got half the summer yet to go. So the heat is very much there.
Models indicate that the smoke could linger over parts of Ontario and Quebec into Wednesday, possibly even Thursday. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, Adrian talked about the risks which are higher for people with heart or breathing problems, along with children and the elderly. Here's the exact breakdown. Environment Canada says a low-risk rating is good for everyone, while moderate ratings are fine for most. A high rating means those at risk should avoid strenuous activities, while very high means everyone should reduce time outdoors, and those at risk should avoid it altogether. For reference, Toronto today was at 10+, considered very high risk. As we mentioned, that smoke is coming from those massive wildfires, and tomorrow afternoon the Prime Minister is expected to convene the Incident Response Group to discuss the ongoing threat. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson on where thousands of people are being held hostage by flames.
In Manitoba, there are hundreds of kilometers of scorched earth and thousands of people on the run, hoping to soon return home.
Sooner the better for everybody here.
There are 12,000 Manitobans from 8 communities living in limbo, holed up in different cities, wherever room can be found.
Manitoba currently has over 6,000 individuals in hotels, occupying over 2,100 hotel rooms in Manitoba. And there are 1,300 people in hotel rooms in Ontario.
The newest arrivals over the weekend came from the northern Garden Hill First Nation. It's unreachable by road, so they've been flown to Winnipeg with help from the Canadian Forces. There is also help on the front line, fire crews from Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico. In Saskatchewan, Lake Country is on high alert with a fire threatening Prince Albert National Park. A portion of the park is closed, and 40 kilometers away, people in the resort town of Waskesiu are looking over their shoulders.
I'm staying positive. I live close to the lake. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's scaring away some of the crowd here. You can tell the campground's kind of cleared out.
In BC, relief for the people of Princeton and the province's southwest. Dozens of families were forced to leave with flames as close as 300 meters from homes. Today, they got the all clear to return, grateful for fire crews.
Those guys flew right into the night. They brought the guys in with night vision. They worked right through, I think, about 1 o'clock last night, 2:30 the night before, just pounding this fire to keep it away from town.
2025 is on pace to be the second most severe fire season ever. 53,000 square kilometers of Canadian land has burned. That's more than twice the yearly average, and it's only July. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
And here is another number we are keeping an eye on tonight: measles cases. Alberta now has more confirmed cases this year than the entire United States after 30 more people were diagnosed with the virus this weekend. The province is reporting over 1,300 infections since the outbreak began in March. By comparison, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control is reporting more than 1,200 cases of the highly contagious disease this year. Another disease on the rise is obesity, particularly among young adults. And new research is pointing to the pandemic as the cause. CTV's John Venevali-Rao on just how quickly rates are increasing and the long-term impacts.
During COVID, as lockdowns took hold, this was Ontario's premier offering up his famous cheesecake recipe at a time when plenty of people were turning to comfort foods to help them get through the stresses of the pandemic.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
But the pandemic's disruptions to daily life appear to have taken a serious toll on waistlines, with obesity rates growing faster than they had in the previous decade.
It's an entire societal issue that we need to take a look at and think about what that impact of the pandemic has been for everybody.
The study, led by researchers at McMaster, analyzed data over 15 years from nearly 750,000 adults and was based on the body mass index. It found obesity rates went from 25% in 2009 to nearly 33% by 2023. With the rate of increase doubling during the pandemic to roughly 1 percentage point each year.
Especially for young people and for women, the rates of obesity rose at a much higher rate than for other groups during the pandemic.
Obesity can bring with it a higher risk of serious health issues, such as type 2 diabetes and certain kinds of cancer. It's not certain exactly why the rates increased. At the time, schools, gyms, and workplaces closed.
Everybody has to have Chips Ahoy.
And people did spend a lot more time at home, near to their kitchen.
Why would people have more of an intake? Maybe because of the isolation, maybe because of depression. So all these challenges could have led to greater amounts of calories going in.
The study authors suggest the stress of job loss or added responsibilities for caregiving may have also played a role, and they think it's something that deserves more research. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
In other news, Donald Trump is delivering an ultimatum to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. CTV's Abigail Beeman on what the U.S. president is threatening tonight.
This is a chance at getting peace.
A bold claim and a big threat.
But we're very, very unhappy with him, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%.
U.S. President Donald Trump hosted NATO top boss Mark Rutte in the Oval Office, promising billions in military equipment, including Patriot missile defense systems purchased from the U.S. by NATO allies.
Germany, massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada. They all want to be part of this.
We are going to be sending them weapons, and they're going to be paying for them.
I am thankful to President Trump for his readiness to support defense of our people's lives.
The support a far cry from this February Oval Office dressing down.
If you didn't have our military equipment.
I mean, it's certainly a big change in his stance.
With Trump's history of praising Putin, whether the U.S. would continue to provide arms to Ukraine was up in the air.
The Patriot system is viewed as kind of being a top tier one. So not just that he's going to provide support, which is a change in and of itself, but also that he's going to provide support with pretty advanced weaponry is beneficial.
While on sanctions, Russia has already been hit hard, but experts say Trump's promise of secondary tariffs on other Russian buyers would make a difference.
When you see the largest importers of China and India being pummeled, that's where it's really going to hit Russia.
Separately, there's a U.S. Senate bill that looks at imposing 500% secondary tariffs on Russia. Today, Trump said it may not be necessary. Omar?
All right, Abigail, thank you. The Conservatives are calling on the Prime Minister to cash out a blind trust he created before he took office, insisting that the ethics screens he has set up to avoid conflicts of interest are not sufficient. CTV's Judy Trin with the new push and details on the disclosures.
There is a cornucopia of conflicts of interest in these investments.
The Conservative leader is raising concerns about the Prime Minister's business dealings in his past life. Before entering politics, Mark Carney sat on the boards of Brookfield Asset Management and Stripe, a credit card software company. He has millions of dollars of assets in the two companies, which he put in a blind trust.
I comply with my responsibilities. I comply with the rules well in advance.
New disclosures filed by Carney to the Ethics Commissioner revealed that Brookfield and Stripe own or control more than 100 other corporations, including clean energy businesses and real estate.
The list of potential conflicts goes on and on. How can he possibly be involved in developing a budget when all the tax policies could impact on his investments directly or indirectly?
The Commissioner's office says the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Marc-André Blanchard, and Privy Council Clerk, Michael Sabia, will be in charge of screening Carney's government decisions, which Carney says will prevent him from giving preferential treatment to any of the companies while he exercises his official powers and duties.
As long as they're invested in businesses while they're in public office, their investments will taint every decision and cause them to make decisions in their own interests, even if they claim not to be doing that.
Pierre Poilievre says the only way for the Prime Minister to avoid conflicts of interest is for Mark Carney to sell all of his shares and to hand over control of those funds to a trustee to reinvest. Only then will the Prime Minister truly not know what stocks he holds. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
And we are learning more tonight about the quartet of men charged in connection with an alleged terror plot to seize land near Quebec City. CTV's Colton Prale has been tracking the high-profile story and what happened to one of the accused in court. Colton.
Omar, 33-year-old Matthew Forbes was released today under a $40,000 bond. A number of conditions, including that he wear an ankle monitor and stay under house arrest. He was tied to what RCMP say was an incident of ideologically motivated violent extremism, where they allege 3 men created an anti-government militia and planned to forcibly take over land near Quebec City. The men were arrested with dozens of firearms, illegal high-capacity magazines, smoke grenades, and tactical military equipment. Today, the Canadian Armed Forces saying none of the weapons or explosives came from their inventory. The Armed Forces confirming Simon Auger-Audet served as a reservist from 2019 to 2022, while Raphael Lagacé, the only person not directly involved with the forces, was a civilian instructor for an air cadet squadron in Quebec. Bail hearings for Marc-Aurèle Chabot, Lagacé, and Auger-Audet are set to take place later this month. Omar.
Colton Prale in Ottawa tonight. Colton, thanks. Coming up, barred at the border.
I've crossed the same port of entry since 2007.
Why this man was kept from returning to his U.S. home after visiting his Canadian family. A visit to family in Canada has turned into a nightmare for a man from New Hampshire. He's stuck on this side of the border after U.S. agents barred him from returning home. CTV's Josh Smith on their reasons why and the man's biggest fear about remaining in Canada.
It definitely has made a tremendous mountain out of a molehill.
Chris Landry had hoped to be back home in New Hampshire by now, but his visit to see his family near Shediac has been extended after he was turned away at the border.
I was absolutely shocked. I've crossed the same port of entry since 2007. with no issues at all.
Landry has lived in the States since he was 3 and has a green card and works in manufacturing. He says border guards in Houlton told him he couldn't enter because of a marijuana conviction nearly 20 years ago.
It's terrible. It's, everything in my life is essentially put on hold. But my primary concern right now is, how's my family going to survive at home without me?
Moncton lawyer and former Justice Minister Mike Murphy was surprised to hear about the situation.
It really concerns me because now Canada is being treated like really every other nation in the world, despite our social and economic integration.
Murphy has some advice for Canadians living in the U.S.
I would suggest that they look very carefully at trying to become U.S. citizens, that they look deeply into their past.
Right now, Landry is trying to clear those old charges so he can get back to his partner and 5 children.
I'm hopeful that, we can get this cleaned up and I can go home and resume my life, my quiet life, just going to work and raising my kids and trying to provide a good future for them.
Landry says he's never applied for citizenship because he's a 3rd-generation green card holder, and this has never been a problem before. But if he's allowed back home, it is one of the first things he'll do. Josh Smith, CTV News, Shediac, New Brunswick.
Shocking video to share with you tonight depicting a dangerous trend known as subway surfing. Police drones in New York City spotted 4 kids riding on top of a subway car. Police boarded the train and took all of them into custody. 2 of them only 12 years old. Earlier this month, a teen died on top of a New York subway train. It's believed he had been subway surfing. Still ahead, how thieves are making a profit on vehicles while the cars are still in the showrooms. A Canadian success story at the Major League Baseball draft last night.
The Los Angeles Angels select Tyler Bremner.
21-year-old pitcher Tyler Bremner was selected out of UC Santa Barbara. While he was born in San Diego, California, his parents are both from Ontario. Bremner has also said he wants to play for Team Canada at the World Baseball Classic to honor his late mother. And if you are wondering how much a luxury experience will cost you at next year's World Cup, today FIFA gave soccer fans the answer. The cheapest of the premium packages will run about $2,500 for a single game and climb as high as $40,000. They include gourmet dining, access to VIP lounges, and top-tier seats. More affordable ticket options will be available this fall. Vancouver and Toronto will be the Canadian host cities for next year's World Cup matches, which will also take place in Mexico and the U.S. And a potentially priceless theft involving superstar Beyonce is coming to light tonight. During the Atlanta stop of her Cowboy Carter tour last week, unreleased music, tour plans, and sensitive personal information belonging to the singer were stolen from a vehicle rented by her team. Police have issued an arrest warrant for an unnamed suspect. And police in this country have helped uncover an unusual form of car theft without even taking the vehicles out of the dealership. CTV's John Woodward on the new tactics culprits are using.
Luxury vehicles usually fly off the lot in this Oakville car dealership.
So to get into a car like this.
But when the dealer, Doug, who's asked us not to use his last name, tried to lease a Mercedes G-squared like this one, he had a problem with the province's auto registry.
Well, we go there, go to put it in transfer, they say, sorry, this car doesn't belong to you. That's what, meanwhile, it's been sitting in our showroom, or in the back at least. It's been sitting here for quite a while.
Documents showed the car had been transferred to another company in 2020. Documents Doug knew were forged.
Well, there's 35,000 kilometers on it, which for sure isn't our car because our car had no kilometers on it.
Your car was a new car in the showroom.
Exactly.
Doug believes at some point thieves entered the showroom just to get the car's vehicle identification number so they could use it to register another car that had been stolen and sell it.
They took our serial number and put it on a stolen car.
Each car has its own vehicle identification number, and if someone puts this car's number on another car, then two cars with the same vehicle identification number, something's wrong.
Since a wave of car theft that has swept the nation, the provincial government has tightened up its registry. Police have also laid several charges against Service Ontario workers.
It's definitely a scenario where one VIN number is living 2 lives.
Carfax has added tools to help dealers and people figure out if their VIN has been cloned. But critics worry smart thieves are already finding new ways to defraud people.
It shouldn't be so easy for people to be able to steal a car, get it registered.
Doug isn't sure the registry worker made a mistake.
You'll never stop if they have someone that's crooked working in the license bureau, and that's what they've been combating.
With the help of the Toronto police, he proved the VIN number matched his Mercedes G-Squared and was able to transfer it to a customer. John Woodward, CTV News.
Still ahead, a love story spanning continents. Just how far the letter in this bottle traveled to share a Canadian couple's connection. We leave you tonight with a love story that kept growing even as it remained bottled up for more than a decade. CTV's Garrett Barry on a message of hope that traveled across an ocean.
It was the day pretty similar to this one. Brad and Anita Squires, younger and more eager to enjoy every second they could.
We're still in the early stages of dating, and we were doing a long distance thing because I was working in BC. So it was like we used to try to pack as much nice things as possible when I was home.
Just decided that we had this bottle of wine, may as well do something cute with it.
So they scrawled the events of their September day together on a piece of paper in 2012 and stuffed it into a wine bottle. They threw it as far into the Atlantic Ocean as Brad could muster.
Definitely thought it smashed into a million pieces. Yeah, like it's such a sheer drop that's there, and these big rocks and rough waters.
A memory of a day well enjoyed, but not one they ever expected to return until...
Walking along the beach, I saw a glass bottle sitting in some seaweed that had just been washed up.
More than 12 years later, and 3,000 kilometers away on a beach in Western Ireland, their love note found a second act.
We managed to get into the bottle. Sadly, we had to break it because we couldn't get the letter out.
Since then, the phone hasn't stopped ringing. All around the world, people want to know more about these two lovebirds and the lives they've lived, their marriage and their children.
It's just like a possibility of something beautiful that can happen in your life. And it happened to us, and it can happen to anybody. Just like putting positive thoughts out there really can come back to you.
Brad and Anita say they really do live it every day. They really are as in love as they were on that special day more than 12 years ago.
If it gets like a little smile on their face and makes them happier, think about their own past loves or their current loves, then we're all for it.
A decade later, they're more than happy to tell their love story over and over again. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
What a beautiful bond they share. And that's a snapshot of this Monday for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Good night, and see you tomorrow.